This segment is about working with pre-made slides. So we're going to be going over non-master custom slides, also known as boilerplate slides, where you already have a foundation set up for you and then you just replace with your variable information. So these are the slides that are considered the non-master slides. So there are several of them here and they're all here for your benefit. So for example, with this, you would simply select the text and type over. So if you needed it to be 10, for example, you could do that. Triple click and then just type over. And type any way that you need to type. If you need to remove information, you can easily select and delete. If you needed to delete several items, you could certainly do that. If you wanted to expand this, you could. The best way to do that would probably just be selecting the bottom here, drag it down, and then it allows you more typable space. Same thing here, if there were certain items you wanted to get rid of or you wanted to expand, you could certainly do that. So for example here, you may want to just expand this, but not stretch the entire grouping. So you can see that different ways of grabbing things would produce a different result. So I would be careful about that. You can also unlock if needed. So group and ungroup, and then that would allow you to only select items that you wanted to adjust. Here as well, if you needed to delete certain items, such as this is not needed, simply delete it. Then you can come here and you can expand if you need to. The item if you need to see it in greater detail, and then you can of course just select it and size as needed and then move things over. So this does give you a tremendous amount of flexibility. Same is true for all of these slides. And items such as this are great because they look really fantastic, but please keep in mind that they are not 100% accurate because they are not numbers driven. So if you're just doing 25%, 50%, etc., this is great, but if you need to show a very, very accurate representation, you are better off using the regular charts and graphs option because that will give you precise numbers. This is just a table, so of course you can go in, you can modify items as you see fit. For example, here, if you wanted to modify this fill, you could, just for the cell. For an entire area, you can then remove the fill if you no longer want fill. So it just gives you a lot of opportunity to make changes and make it your own. Same is true here. You can change out images, your text, etc. Here as well, you can move things around, you can delete, you can recolor, etc. And that is true for pretty much all of these various items. If there are certain items that you don't want the supportive text to be, simply select and delete. And if you wanted these items gone as well, you could do that also. Just make sure that you select everything that is needed, and in some cases you may need to just select things individually. So for example here, this would all have to be done individually. In some other situations you may be able to do it collectively. A lot of it depends on positioning, how the file is locked, etc. And same thing here, and we'll just go through, and this is all rather repetitive. Here, this is a bit different. This is where you can insert images. Now keep in mind that when you insert an image, it will be subject to the height and width requirements. So for example, if we insert this image, it will try to fill the entire area. Well, that's not always the best option. We may want it to fit the area versus fill the area. So if we want it to fit versus fill, we would come up here to our crop tool, use the drop down, and choose fit. When we do that, it will fit within the parameters proportionally. So it will only fit vertically, fully because that is what the parameters allow for. And so that is something to keep in mind, that there are differences between fit and fill. Also keep in mind that if you want to change the image look, you can do that as well. And you'll see that it looks a bit different. You may or may not want to do that, but it can be done. Here we also have picture placeholders. So we have an image here. You have two choices. You can right click and change your picture. So if you needed to change the picture, you could certainly do that, and we'll just change that with a different picture. And it will take up the same space, but it will do it proportionally again. This is fuzzy because it was meant to be a small picture, and that is why it is occurring. You can also just insert the picture directly. So if you delete it, the placeholder will remain to reinsert an image whenever you may need it. So then we could click on that, delete, click on it again, come down here, and insert the picture, and it will come in properly. We also have options here for various colors. So we do have the 4 most commonly used colors, and they are available for you. If for some reason you need a color other than the ones that are provided here, simply double click in this area, and then you have an opportunity to go to Shape Fill and choose whatever color you may need. So if you want trying to see what color we don't have. If you wanted the dark blue, simply click on it, and now we have dark blue. This is the same thing where you can edit any information that needs to be edited. If for some reason it's not working the way that it currently is, you can also modify that. So for example here, if you wanted it to fit better within, but you need it to fit fully, you can just reduce the font size. You can align the text objects. There's a number of things that you can do here in order to make everything fit for you. And then we're going to come down here, and these are just icons that you can copy and paste wherever you may need them. So if you had an image up here that you wanted to place, no problem, just copy it and paste it wherever you may need it, and then it is available for you. And of course you can still size them, do anything that you need to do, change the color, etc. So you can come here, you can change the color to whatever it is that you may need. And that is basically an overview of how to work with your pre-made slides. Thank you.